Uh,
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening, Richard.
Okay, so we are going to discuss about our findings in our culture, culture, right? It's because it's
Yes.
me and culture, and I would like to give the opportunity first to Calvin. Calvin, are you ready?
No, but hey, let's go.
Okay, let's hear.
Let's hear about Calvin first.
All right. Can you see it? Can you see this?
Uh,
All
yes, I
right.
can see.
So my presentation is about CCG or TCG. Now guys might be asking yourself, what is CCG or TCG? Well, it's simple. It's a card collecting game, or better known for its trading card game. Basically, it's a
Mm,
type of game where you just collect cards and you battle them with other players. That's basically it. You know, I had took some examples from this, like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Personally, I do play Pokemon, but not the trading card type. I play like the normal ones. Yu-Gi-Oh, I've played for a couple, but I can't get the mechanics and all. There is one
mm.
game that I played back in like when in my childhood. I forgot what it was, but I had a whole collection. It's all gone now. Disappeared to the void or something. I don't know. So you might be asking yourself, who can participate? Everyone. Of course, it's a TCG. Everyone can participate. That is, of course, if you have the mental health to do so. Look at Yu-Gi-Oh! That thing has like a lot of basically a paragraph of text just saying this, do that. So you can't anyone can play, but you just have to have the mental health, the cognitive abilities to process per se. You know. Now
Okay.
CCG when well it's anywhere like home places. Not really like a timely scheduled event thing like CCG tournaments or weekly meetups with your friends, of course. Of course, where houses, your own house. You can ask your neighbors to play, or your families if you want, or their own stores like GameStop. Do you guys know GameStop?
Left.
Well, well, I know a place to where we can play. We can play cards, but I didn't consider them as a local game shop. It's like, it's like a toy store.
Oh, interesting. Is it like Toys R Us?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, I think there's this game in this board game store near to our campus. Do you know
I think I know that place. I think there's
that place
actually a
called
cafe too,
Did-
right? A cafe
Yes,
where you can play. Yeah, yeah.
the Cafe. But I've played this game, the Pokemon one, a long time ago, and I didn't understand what it was. You know how.
Oh yeah, it takes time to play definitely, but if once you get the hang of it, it'll get easier. Of course, you don't look at
Yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh over there. Anyways,
but it looks fun though. It looks
now you must be
colorful.
asking yourself how to play TCG. I'm not gonna go into depth on how to play TCG. Just know that there's like multiple phases that you need to go for, like drawing phases where you basically draw cards. There's a phase where the main phase is called, where you set up your cards, your spells,
Mm.
maybe, or your fields. Attacking, well, it's self-explanatory, and the ending phase, it's self-explanatory. Anyways, as you can see, these are some of the pictures that I've shown. This is some of the citations, and that will be all. Thank you. Any questions?
Cool.
Wow, great. Actually, I'm just gonna have some commentary. Like there are similar card games like still using cards. I mean, maybe some of you are popular with it, but it's usually are associated with old people. Do you know this? Do you see this my screen here?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know
Of
Yeah,
that.
course.
yeah, playing cards, or it's usually called play used in gambling. Like, yeah, it's
Mm.
famous with gambling, but it's actually isn't always associated with gambling. It's like, man, when you play, how I will say, oh, yeah, card trick, or
Ah,
do you know
like
the word
magic.
for the Indonesian word? It's sulap. Yeah, magic. You know,
Magic.
right?
Mm.
So the similarity is that it involves strategy, but how we play it is very different. It
Mm,
involves strategy, but the main thing that are different is that uh, I I specifically remembered that if you want to play TCG, it's about one against one other people, so only two player, right? Am I
I
right?
mean, there are, yes, mainly it is
yeah.
about 1v1, but there are some multiplayer formats. But that's just like,
Yeah,
it's really rare to see.
Is it like
yeah,
you,
it's very.
Excuse me?
Kelvin? Is it like how we play Uno
Oh,
games? You know
Uno?
that?
It's a bit different.
Oh, I thought.
Because in TCG, I see it like it's like playing chess. You have to really count your move. Very. You have to really think about it when you want to play certain cards.
Mm,
Like
mm.
this card could have this effect. This card could have this effect.
Oh,
While in Uno and poker, the strategy is quite simple. Is that as long you know the numbering, you know the rule of the game, you could play like. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, even you in card games, if you know the games, it still doesn't guarantee that you're gonna play it well.
True.
That's why it takes a lot of research to play CCG. That's the
Yep,
one.
I can
And
confirm.
well, because I'm actually fun fact, Calvin, I'm a CCG player. I'm a TCG player. Is that uh that game actually one of the game it has so much variety. It's like you could use different strategies, like different
Yep.
cards, like but on like Uno and poker, the strategy is very limited. Is that because the card is basically the same. Everybody gets there's no effect on each card. Like the card has the predetermined value, like the value has been set in. But in
Yep.
TCG, card is like the value for as an individual like may not be effective, but when you get a whole set, like you get create a deck and you play, it becomes like a whole unity. But in the poker, each card has the values predetermined, same like Uno, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm and actually the main differences that TCG and other card game is that TCG can
yeah.
be sell, right? They have
Yes.
value. They have
They
monetary
have
value, if I remember.
high value,
Because
especially if that's like the
because
rare
so
limited ones.
yeah, because I have some card in my collection that are worth like a fortune. Like it's very hard to get. Because for and the cards like poker, it's just for purely playing. You meant to play them only, right? But in
With no
TCG, not
strategy.
only you can, yeah, in TCG, not only you can play them, but you all can also collect and like its name, collecting card game or trading. You can sell or trade your cards.
That is
Oh,
correct.
I know. I gotta say.
Another actually, Calvin, it's another fun fact that I found is that card games actually are starting to get famous around 80s, right? Because again, it's the era where pop culture starting to get famous, and we start to getting like internet kind of that stuff. And
Yeah.
it, again, because it's originally from Japanese, mostly Japanese and Chinese tradition, like to play games that in board games. Because in some of the card games, mostly of them are inspired from either Japanese or European culture. Actually, that's actually interesting part of it. How about you, Nandito? Do you find something that's interesting or maybe similar in your culture?
Well, yeah. It's presenting about this game culture of mine that's called Lompat Batu. Let me share the screen first, shall
Oh
we?
yeah, of course. Let me just stop sharing real quick. There you go. Take the stage.
Okay, guys.
Why? That's a problem.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can you guys can see?
It's still loading.
It's still not working. Okay, hold on.
Hold on. Oh, yep, it's not. It's a black
It's
screen for
loading.
me. How about you,
It's
Richard?
load.
Oh, it's
Well,
loading as well.
Yeah, it's you started screen sharing, but it doesn't show what screen you are sharing actually. It just said that you started screen sharing. It's okay, take your time.
okay, you can see, right?
There
Now
you
Now,
you can.
yeah.
Okay. So I was presenting about my culture game called Lompat Batu, also known as stone jumping. This is from Nias Island in Timur. Well, yeah, this is kind of a game that this is a test for young men for their bravery or their agility, strength. This is symbolizing the transition from their teenage life to adulthood.
I see. I see.
Who is the participant of Lompat Batu? Well, the participant of Lompat Batu is, yeah, the young man. Started from the age of 16 to 20, I guess. Yeah, I'm personally never experienced this game, so
That's
I
fair.
was
That's fair.
just doing the research of this game. Okay, when is the Lompat Batu usually being performed? Well, this Lompat Batu game is usually being performed at the special events. Uh, when the young boy is turning into adult, yeah, that's when we do the perform usually. Where it takes in the village squares designed by ceremonial areas, and yeah, it takes on the village like usual. It's not a modern game that we do in our city or something. Just some kind of a suku games. We're not
Yep.
really previous with this game. How is this game played? Well, it has a certain rules, but I can't say it now because it is too long. So yes, guys, what do you think about it? About my game?
I think that's very interesting, actually. I've never actually seen this Lompat Batu. Not gonna lie, I have not seen this before in my life.
Do you
That is
guys
very
have a
interesting.
similar game to your culture like this? Or do you have-
Um,
What
I
about
guess
Barong side? Are they similar to this?
Barongsai. If
Yeah,
I remember correctly, Barongsai doesn't necessarily have like the same like Lompat Batu thing, but they do some jumps, like jump over the person, one the other, all like
right.
that. Basically doing stunts.
They
Actually, I want to comment too, like on. Actually, that's actually quite good question, Nandita. Actually, so uh, for barongsai, it's actually the same. You require to have some training, right? In lompat batu,
mm.
you do need to train your body, right? Because
Oh
it
yeah, in lompat batu,
requires.
we need to train first to actually lompat the batu because yeah, we need to practice to lompat the batu. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
it is a
in
high.
barongsai it involves us actually acrobatics. Yeah, you like the stunts that Calvin said, right?
Is it like a freestyle that they do?
Oh no, it's coordinated
Freestyle?
actually
No,
because it's two
it's a
person.
coordinated. Yeah, it's coordination.
Um,
Eh.
so-
And the cultural significance or similarities that I could say for barongsai is that uh, it's performed on certain events. Is that it's not always happening like every day. It's only
mm,
reserved for celebrations, right? Because
yeah,
Yes, of course.
because the main value in barongsai is actually to ward evil spirits. Because there's in Chinese New Year there used to be like kind of demon,
oh
Yes.
kind of. like a
Yes,
demon
correct.
that came into
Finish.
a certain part of village, like every night to eat their cattle, to eat or take away the children's like families members, like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
certain day, like I forget on which specific day is it done, but on a certain day the villager decided to just plain loud noises, like banging on everything they could bang, like steel, like anything that could make sounds and scare
Mhm.
away the demon. And the barongsai is actually the representation of the demon. And that's why we usually pair barongsai with again with loud music, right? Like there's
Mm.
gong, there are music that accompany
I
it
thought
because
I
it
thought Barongsai was
symbolizes.
it's okay,
Yes.
which I thought
No, no, no,
Barongsai
no.
was
It's like,
only just to entertain people, but it turns out it has an history behind it. So yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. I just know that.
that's the historical value. Like it has certain values, and it has the similarity in a way that it's only performed to, I want how to say, it's to commemorate something, to basically symbolize something. Because in Lompat Batu is to symbolize the passage, right, to adulthood, if I don't mistaken.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was like a symbol of their transition.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and the similarities, the different, but for
But
the differences,
it doesn't have
yeah,
any historical story behind it. Yeah, so it's just like a Lompat Batu. That's the thing. We don't have any story behind the Lompat Batu
yeah.
That's interesting.
But
of
the
the transition.
interesting part, yeah, the interesting part about Lompat Batu is that for Lompat Batu, it's very symbolic. It's very symbolic. It's not very free in term on how when you do it, like, but for
Mm.
barongsai
Yeah.
it's more free because you can do it on any celebration event. Actually, it's not limited to not only Chinese New Year, basically any celebration event. Because it's customary for Chinese for when they are celebrating or when they are opening, when they get into a new house or they open a new store, it's okay to play barongsai because
Mm.
when you open a new place, it's expected for you to clean off the evil spirits
Oh
in the
yeah, yeah.
house, right? Yeah, to ward off the spirits, and that's why we play loud music, like we celebrate not only for good luck, but actually that has meaning on it. And
Mm.
that's actually interesting, actually.
That's the
How
difference
about you,
with
Calvin?
Sai and this
Oh,
Lompat. Yeah, good thing.
yeah. eh, how about you, Calvin? Do you have any commentary about on this?
I do have commentary about that. The barongsai thing, because barongsai is like red, and Chinese is all about red. So that's very interesting. I can see like a lot of red as well here. Does that also symbolize like maybe good luck, just like in the Chinese tradition?
Apa di depan mah?
Sorry, Calvin.
I saw like when like a lot of people here actually wears red. In
Mm.
Chinese culture, red means like prosperity, good luck, and all that to ward off this all the evil spirits. I wonder if like everyone has like their own color as well. Like as you can see, like a lot of blacks, a
And
lot of
this,
red, yellows. Does that mean anything?
well, that does not mean anything. It's just their
Uh,
uh tradition
Traditional
clothes
attire. Okay,
they
okay.
wear.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, doesn't have any meaning about the color. So yeah,
Mm,
it's
all
just
right.
their traditional clothes. They wear it every time they have a ceremony like this.
All right. That's interesting. Though I think that
Well,
will be
like I
all.
said before, I've never experienced this before. Yeah, I
Of
was born
course, of
in
course.
Jakarta, so it is
Understandable,
part of.
understandable.
Mm. I didn't know much about this.
All right. I think if that's all, I think we should let Richard take the stage now.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. So I think I think while we wait for others, it's good for me to presentate. By the
Okay.
way.
How about you,
Of
Richard?
course.
Okay, let me wait and share.
Okay, let me
Okay,
sharing the screen. Okay.
okay. Is it
Let me start.
visible?
Please hold on.
Okay. Now you can share your
Ah,
screen.
yeah, it's very visible.
Okay. Let me just share screen like cool. Okay. So what I'm going to share is actually traditional funeral rites of Chinese. It's called Sangsang, but in my family we call it Nyangseng because we are Chinese Indonesian, but we also have influences from Betawi. That's why we love to use as a to change the value of a word. Usually call as we call it yeah, so it's Nyangseng. The original word is Sangsang actually. Okay, so it's a funeral rites. It's basically started as a Chinese in mainland China. You can see actually similarities if you search on some Chinese funeral rites. It's actually pretty similar, but the key differences that I would say is that it uses certain aspect of our culture, Indonesian culture, such as some clothing. Like most of the clothing nowadays is modern, but it's very modern, like a suit, like the suit, like how we do it, when we do it is very different. I'm gonna explain later. So the ritual honors the deceased. Basically, the main aim of the ritual is to honor the deceased and ensure a peaceful transition. The practice includes like ritual cleansing, dressing the body, there are wakes, the funeral procession, and the rites. It's actually pretty similar. The key differences on how we do those process actually, and I'm gonna explain it later. So who can participate? It's actually okay, family member, relative, and close friends. It's usually reserved for the main families first, and then later relatives and close friend can join on the second day, third day, but nowadays everybody can join. Like even if you know him briefly but you want to pay respect, it's okay. As long you want to pay respect to the deceased one, you want to honor, you want to say to the families that you know him, it's okay, you can come. And the one who plays Kiro is actually the eldest son because the eldest son is the next in line and he has to presence to be present in the family funeral because he's the head of the family now. Because he represents the head of the family and he's expected to be there. And for participants, they cannot wear the color red. This is actually we already discussed it on the barongsai because red is associated with party celebrations in my culture actually, and that's why we don't encourage you to wear red. Uh, on the past, there are actually a lot of uh manners around music color, but nowadays it's just mostly like bright color. Not only red, actually any bright color is avoided usually, except for white. For white, why is it white? Because
Wow.
traditionally we use white as a way to symbolize purity, and when the most sacred time and to symbolize purity is when the people are born and when they are passing away, right?
So they're
Okay.
forbidden to wear this bright color.
Yeah, they are for in the past, yes, but nowadays it has become like a norm. Like people now associated that, oh yeah, you cannot go to a funeral using bright colors. It's not a necessity, but it's becoming like common knowledge Like most of the people already know, right?
Yeah, I get it.
And they can send flowers, like flower wreaths or banners. This is the key difference in nowadays. In nowadays, you just send a big board of how you say that you are grieving, right? The
Bored of
flower is, yeah,
bored
the
of
board,
the names on it, you know.
yeah, with flower with the names, right? But nowadays it is but that's nowadays. But in the past, there are banners. There are banners that has the name of the one that passing away, or something that you remember about the one who passed away. Like, oh, this guy is a good person, or this
Oh,
woman is a good person, and then you write the title, a good person, a
oh,
diligent person.
their
That's, I'm
title.
gonna show the picture later, actually. And this is the family photo. This is the Chinese Indonesian back then when they this is very old photo. I cannot find exact year on this, but it's estimated around like 30 to 40 years old. This is the very traditional clothing that we have. It integrated Chinese culture and Indonesian culture, as you can see in some of the female in women's clothing. It incorporates some of type of fabric found in actually in Indonesia, but the color or the symbols are from Chinese, so it's a blend of our culture actually. So is there any particular time? Of course, right? This ritual only can be conducted when somebody's passing away. Definitely, obviously. So it can last 5 to 7 days, but now this is the another key difference. In the past, it's 5 to 7 days, but nowadays it's only 3 days. Do you know why? Because again, the price on funeral homes. Because we do this in funeral homes nowadays. It used to be in our house. Do you imagine putting somebody that passed away in your house for 7 days?
Oh well,
It's,
we just and nowadays we just
yeah,
keep the body
it's not
for 3 days.
it's not gonna be practical, right, in our urban
Mm.
area, especially for all of us who live in Jakarta. That's why we put it in funeral homes. It's for simplicity and space, because in funeral homes you get a spacious area, right? People can sit and you can actually rest there actually. And in the past, astrologer, this is another name for Taoist priest or Buddhist monk, depends on what religion. This is another part that actually differs from nowadays. In nowadays, the timing, we don't use any of this kind of timing nowadays. It's more like, okay, this person died on this day, and
Mhm.
for if we counted 3 days, after 3 days, we do the procession right away. We don't count for days like on time, like, oh, you cannot do this on this month. You cannot do it on this, because on some I haven't heard about it, but some people said that if the month is not correct or the moon is not correct, the sun is not facing the right direction, it could lead to bad things. That's why old people use astrologers, but nowadays we don't use any of that, because again, it's how long we gonna put the past one in the coffin, like in a funeral home. It's gonna be very impractical, right?
Mm.
So this is what I've been referencing back then. So we put it in our house. Back then, it's very common because funeral homes are not very common. But nowadays, because funeral home is very common and it's very practical, we use them. We do them in funeral homes nowadays.
Yeah,
So
and this.
the other aspects actually the same. So funeral procession takes place in public. There
Yeah,
are escort. Like, when we depart from the funeral homes to the burial site, to the cemetery, family members can follow the ambulance, right? So it's not so different actually. But back then it's very common for you to be buried on places near your home actually. So let's say your home is in a village. It's not. weird to see that you are going to be places on some place near your village. Actually, this is different from nowadays because again we don't have a lot of space in Jakarta, right? That place for people to bury people is very limited, and that's why it's common to see an escort. But back then, we escort the people that are passed away by walking. Imagine that, by walking. Imagine if we do it nowadays. It's gonna be very impractical. That's another aspect that changed. And this is another thing that is very rare to see nowadays. So after our burial, the Sinchi is it's an ancestor tablet. So you put the name of the one who passed away in a tablet, and we keep it in homes or in a family on or in a shrine like a Buddhist temple or a Taoist temple. But nowadays it's very hard to see this, especially because nowadays Chinese Indonesian are more likely to be Christian than back then.
See?
Back then, we still follow our roots, like in Confucianism, like in Taoism and Buddhism. But nowadays, other than religious, other because religion, it's also because practicality, because it's not practical, right? To put it in place, to because family have to come like once a month, like once a year to say their prayers, right?
Mm.
Like this is the process. The
Excuse
process
me,
gonna
Richard.
take too long. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but we have 3 more minutes left on this meeting time.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, this is the process. I'm not gonna explain it because I already explained it in the video. So basically, it's a lot of process. It's not simple.
Yeah.
You can read it. I'll give you the slides later. This is very meticulous planning came into this. Actually, this is the picture of the coffin. Look at how stylish is the coffin, right? It
Mm.
has ornaments like a lot of flowers. The second photo is the when this is actually the front of the house. So it's common to help the I don't want to say party, but I want to say where people can sit and have a feast together. This is the photo of the carriers that I mentioned. This is the photo of people. They are walking. They are walking. And this is the part when they bring photos and flower. This is basically nearing the cemetery. This photo is the shrine that I called, and the small parts that you see on the bottom is actually Sinchi on the tablets.
Mm.
This is the source that I use. Is there any question actually? That's it actually from me. Feel free to ask.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I feel like I remember this because my mother died like at I think it was like the early 2020. And at that point she was kept at a funeral home for like 3 days, and
Mm.
I couldn't use bright colors. Again, bright colors, you can't use it. I was so confused. Like, why? So now I know why. Because at that time I did not know. After that, after I went to school, there was like an event where I have
Yeah.
to wear red, and I can't, so I just wore black instead.
Okay, so basically, how about you, Nandito? Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah. There's nothing that I want to add, but it's just my last time when my grandmother died. We were kind of having this kind of ceremony. It's just like you. We just kept her for like 3 days, showering the bodies, cleaning the body, and then yeah, just like that. We were black. We didn't allow to use bright colors. I didn't know why, but now I know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you.